Chef.
Hey, Chef.
This is Idaho Warriors, Season 1, Episode 4. And this is your warrior, Steve Murphy. Today's episode is Rebuilding Your Kitchen. Next 30 years start now. I'm going to go back in time to May 15th of 2022. I met a chef, and his name was Michael. The day we met, the trials hadn't started yet, not publicly, not officially. The feelings had. Something underneath the surface was shifting, already unsettled, already asking questions I didn't have the language for. Here's what nobody tells you about rebuilding. It starts before you know you need it. And sometimes it walks through your door wearing a chef coat. Michael worked 2 full summers with 3 Peaks Restaurant and Catering in 2022 and 2023. He lived on my property. I housed him. We trained each other. He's a fantastic chef and an even better person. But Michael had his demons, and he told me something once that I've never forgotten. He said his creativity was greatest at the bottom of a bottle. I heard that and I didn't flinch because I understood it. Not the bottle, but the feeling of being at your edge, where everything unnecessary falls away and something raw and true comes through. Something you can't access when life feels safe and controlled. The trials that would eventually come for me hadn't arrived yet, but the feelings had. And looking back now, I understand that God placed me with Michael in my kitchen before the storm. And he was there during it, because sometimes the provision arrives before the need is visible. And I was rebuilding even then, even before I knew what was coming, even before I knew I would need every single thing those 2 summers were teaching me. You know, in the kitchen, we talk about mise en place, everything in its place. Before the fire, before the tickets, before the chaos begins, you set your foundation. Most chefs, most men and women try to rebuild on top of what broke them. Same habits, same environment, same internal noise, just with new paint on the walls. That is not a rebuild. That is a cover-up. A real rebuild starts at the foundation, and the foundation has to be uncracked, which means you have to be willing to clear the site first, to sit in the rubble, to be still, maybe for the first time in your career, before you pick up a single tool. That's stillness, that daily practice of sitting with the silence, not running from it, not filling it with the next shift or the next season or the next thing to fix. That is where the foundation gets poured. Simple as salt. Not dramatic, not a 40-day challenge, just still, every day. When I talk about rebuilding, I'm not just talking about your business, I'm talking about your 4 kitchens. Your mental kitchen, your physical kitchen, your spiritual kitchen, and your emotional kitchen. Most chefs only tend to one of them, the physical, because the job demands it. But the other 3 get neglected. And when they do, eventually the physical one goes too. You see, the mental kitchen is where your self-talk lives, where the ticket machine in your head prints its lies. Tending to it means catching those thoughts, not wrestling them, just noticing them and choosing a different station. The emotional kitchen is where the blame and the grief and the frustration from the last 3 episodes live. I've already done the work of naming it. Now you tend to it daily, a little at a time, like a stock. The spiritual kitchen, and I don't care what you call it. It is the one that tells you why any of this matters. It's the part of you. It's the part of you that met Michael on May 15th and knew something was being given to you. It's the part that took a first breath on January 28th of 2024 and understood that the wilderness had a purpose. Tend all 4 every day. Simple habits, real change. I want to ask you something, not about the last 10 years, not about the burnout or the collapse or the seasons that broke you. I want to ask you about the next 30 years. What does that chef look like? Because here's what I know. The next 30 years do not start when everything is perfect. They do not start when the environment improves, when the partnership heals, when the divorce is final, when the boys understand, when the business turns a corner. They start now with one simple habit, with 5 minutes of stillness before the first ticket drops, with a single honest conversation at the Warriors table, with the decision made today, not someday, to build on an uncracked foundation. You see, Michael didn't know he was a part of my rebuild. I didn't tell him, but God placed him in my kitchen on May 15th of 2022 for a reason. And I showed up, even feeling different, even pre-trial. I showed up and I received what I had been offered. Simple as salt. That is the standard here at Idaho Warriors. Not perfect, not extreme, not a program that burns bright for 2 weeks and disappears. Simple, consistent, and durable. Transform your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional habits. Not with crazy challenges, but step by step with simple things to create real and lasting change. All right, I got an assignment for you before episode 5. Sit still for 5 minutes tomorrow morning. Before the phone, before the coffee, before the noise, before the chef talks to you, before the employees, before the accounting, before the stress. Just 5 minutes and notice what comes up. That's it. That's the whole assignment. I'm Steve Murphy. This is Idaho Warriors. Timer's up. Back to work. Tickets are coming in.